So our Miramax
Well,
logo just faded.
now, with the mreh, that is the moment we all know to start the film. Continue.
Yeah, we're just watching the Miramax Blu-ray, and
So now you definitely know where you're supposed to be in the movie,
Right.
Because the sound is way too loud. There we go.
well, this is a pretty interesting way to start a film.
Yeah.
Definitely, probably the best way they've ever started a film up until this point.
In the whole Godzilla franchise, you think?
I mean,
It just
is it
tags.
Terminator-esque?
Well, what is this, 89?
Yeah.
So I guess
It's like, this is the future.
Wow.
There will be lizards.
This is the future on a $6 million budget.
Yes, that was a film. That was Godzilla vs. Biollante's budget, $6 million.
Oh,
And they
God.
spent half of it on the special effects. So it's nice to know we put the budget on the screen. I don't think they spent it on English-speaking actors.
No, they did not.
So I don't
Maybe
say-
spend anybody.
So they knew this was a good suit because they're like, no, this suit's gonna be in this.
They're almost screaming, guys, don't leave the theater. Don't. I know you. This just started.
The thing with this suit is,
Oh, wow. So,
as I say this suit, they show the former suit.
well, it's almost like they want to show. Look, listen, we're so much better. Look, like, by comparison.
Well, okay, I just want to say the new suit that gets rid of the whites in Godzilla's eyes that you could see there, that the 84 suit had. The new suit has just like lizard-like eyes with no white pupils because only humans have white pupils, so he's less human and more reptilian looking in Biollante.
Right.
So I guess they're basically saying, hey guys, this last Godzilla movie that came out and this one are part of the same universe, part of the same continuity, part of the same story.
Well, okay. I think the only time a prior film is directly referenced in the opening credits is Mechagodzilla, which is like, 3 films down the line.
Yeah,
Right,
well,
where they
for the
mention
previous-
King Ghidorah's technical.
Well, Terra Mechagodzilla recaps the fight of Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla
Oh, okay.
as well.
Hmm.
This
So it has a
is
direct-
awesome. Like, I love that ruined city behind her.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's blue screen or a painting, I would guess. Or they just found some rubble.
Very
went with
convincing.
it.
This is
I think it's a
Blu-ray.
painting, but... Yeah,
So this is supposed to be Tokyo after the fight from Part 1 with the Super X.
yeah, this is taking place in 1984.
This is supposed to be 84. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Because this is like next day. Like, this is like, it literally starts
This is
the
the
next day.
Halloween 2 treatment, you know. Godzilla's in that volcano now, but don't worry, there's still action. We can find action with that big lizard taking a nap.
You're almost like I feel what you're saying is exactly what the screenwriter said.
Or like he's
almost like talking to himself. Like I can make this work.
This guy's like, that's a nice piece of steak.
It's too funny. Yeah.
So yeah, this film came out 5 years after Godzilla in 1984.
Yeah.
And I know before Godzilla 1984 came out, there was no Godzilla movies for I think 9 years. And at some point around 1980, Toho began re-releasing a lot of the old Godzilla movies in theaters, like Godzilla vs. Mothra. The re-release attracted about 4 million people, right?
Right.
And at some point, or 3 million, I think 3 million. But at some point, Toho just said, wow, this made crazy money. Let's make a new Godzilla movie, and we'll make like double that. We'll make 7 million ticket sales. And they didn't. They made just slightly over what the Godzilla vs. Mothra re-release made. So I think all the Godzilla fans went to see the re-release, and it was the same people that went to see the new one. So I think that's one of the reasons why it took 5 years. They just weren't sure, like, if it was going to be such a big seller that they were convinced 84 would be. This is the new director, guy with the last name of Omori.
Mm-hmm.
And so I read...
So totally bit different in the beginning than 84 at this point. Like,
Yeah.
this was 84 started like really,
I read that the director of this movie considered the Godzilla films and the other Toho films to be old-fashioned, and that he was big into 80s action movies and James Bond.
So he would have just seen License to Kill at this point.
Yeah, probably not,
like, that was sick.
Yeah, Living Daylights. And so he just thought, like, we got to put some Western movie-style action to modernize these old-school sci-fi spectacles that we, as a country, Japan, used to make in the 1960s all the time.
Right.
Like, I think he just wanted to make it fresh, because there weren't a lot of, like, gunfights or human-on-human action in, like... the 60s Godzilla movies, or in Toho's other special effects films.
Right.
Obviously, there are moments, but they're not driven by that.
Right.
And apparently, the director of this film was a huge James Bond fan and said his dream was to direct a James Bond movie. and the Godzilla's a second choice.
So it was just a perfect mix for him, I suppose. Oh, this is
I love this assassin. He just looks like some guy. I don't know.
What?
He doesn't look like that buff or intimidating or scary. He really looks like I don't know.
No.
We knew some kind of Indian Arab guy could pass for it.
would-
you're in the movie.
He
He looks
I
like
think
some guy.
Listen, why is he wearing aviators? I don't know. Whatever.
He's bad. He's got fingerless gloves. He's
let's-
bad.
You know what?
Kiss you guys.
Did he say
Kiss you guys.
Kiss you guys. Okay, cool.
There are moments in this film where I'd rather watch the English dub. I think we should do like a composite of the, when the non-Japanese actors speak in English is the English dub.
So he just took
Republic of Fakistan, yes.
Saradia, and he just took the Godzilla cells, and I think he's giving them, that shot implied
Now,
he's meeting with someone.
So I think it's still 84 until...
Yeah, it's weird, right? 'Cause
I think it's still 84 until
until Erica died.
Yeah.
Well, spoiler alert. You would not be watching this unless you've
Yes.
seen this
Strong
movie,
movie.
I'm sure. So the Doctor looks almost the same age as he does later, I'm assuming. No. I think he actually, I think it actually has shown, funny enough, with 4 years later with white hair. But we'll see.
Yeah, they're giving that streak away.
I don't want to make a bet.
Two
I'm
applies.
pretty
Crazy.
sure. I haven't seen this in a few years. But
So the interesting thing about this girl, Erica, the actress, was the same actress who did Godzilla 1984. It was the main girl there, the main actress in that film.
right.
And I know the director of this movie did not like Godzilla 84. I think this is the worst shot of the film, the worst effect of the film.
It was too fast for me to really analyze.
It might as well have been like Showa. But anyway, the director of this film apparently did not like Godzilla 1984. I think he had a quote. I always feel like that's stock footage. Like, some Moroccan guy smoking some shisha. We got some stock footage. Yeah, they're in Arabia. I always thought like this feeling that they're in the Middle East country was really cheap. Like just stock footage, bad matte painting.
Right.
Look, bad matte painting, stock footage. We're in the Middle East. Like,
yeah.
it's not leading with its best effects.
No, it's not.
That's what really bad matte painting. But anyway, this actress, director of this film, did not like Godzilla 1984 because he thought it was just a rehash or a retread of the original 1950s Godzilla. And he said they did nothing new with the idea, nothing daring, right?
I see.
And he decided to make the most out there Godzilla he could make to contrast with it. And some people think, maybe he killed off Erica at the very beginning, because she lived the whole way in Godzilla 1984, was the main girl. Well, she's gonna die first scene in my movie, like some kind of.
So
madness.
you think? Okay, let's listen to this for a second. This acting.
We must find a way to transform this vast desert into a granary. My daughter Erika.
So yeah, he must transform the lost desert into a granary.
A new type of weed
The
grown
vat.
with and cactus cells. This weed can grow in the desert. If we add self-reproductive genetic information from the
what?
cell,
Here's the thing. At this point, I'm assuming most Western audiences are kind of lost by this. What are we? 4 minutes in the film?
You have a complicated dialogue, relatively complicated dialogue,
Yes.
about how this guy's invention that will let plants grow in the harshest conditions can change the balance of power in the world, whatever, and it's being read to you by atrocious line readings by people that don't know the language. They're probably just speaking phonetically, both of them.
Of course. Yeah, and they are. I think you can tell, especially the Japanese actor.
This script had many rewrites, many hands in it, and it's easily the most complicated Godzilla movie
Ever, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not more than Shin, but here's the thing: Shin's.
Well, that's true.
No, but this film, Shin seemed very, conscientious of what it was doing. Well, this film, it almost seems like when it gets complicated, it almost interrupts the film. It's like, it's. You mentioned this was rewritten many times. Yeah. A lot of people worked on the script, so it kind of feels like a mixture of multiple ideas. This is a really interesting shot. The rose.
I'm guessing this is 1989. 5 years later.
It would.
So it's the man's dead daughter plot, the terrorist or the people, different corporations and companies fighting to control these Godzilla cells, fighting to control this technology that could make planets that can't die, and now being now it's plot B with a psychic girl.
Right.
And this film is such a busy film with so many characters and so many plots.
It's I've thought of before. It's like what makes a film good. It's like what you're willing to bring into it or forgive about the film.
It's a very unusual film.
For sure. And I would say,
Very
like, if I was watching this and I'm not a Godzilla fan, I would say this is, like, too much. Like, it's expecting me to really focus so much on something that I'm not really invested in yet. It hasn't earned my attention enough to drop this level of discourse.
So we're moving from gunfight to stealing the cells to the guy working with the cells. A daughter was killed in a terrorist attack or an attack by another company that wanted the cells.
By the way, there's a psychic visiting us.
Right, and it goes like
your daughter
crazy
dies.
and off the rails. Minute
like
2.
But here's the thing: while it's doing that, every shot in this film is gorgeous. Like everything is really really nicely framed, and obviously the kaiju stuff later on is like iconic. It's like the best. I think of the whole Heisei series, maybe comparable to some of the Millennium stuff.
That's just, I think, well, in a human level, what we have is a plot that's overstuffed with one-dimensional characters.
Interesting.
With a great...
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
The movie it's almost like a brilliant movie, but it's almost poorly edited. That it has so many subplots, so many characters.
I see.
Maybe we could. There is also a subplot amongst all.
He's literally wearing a USA hat, by the way, which is like it's too much.
But I was going to say among these warring companies,
right.
These warring countries subplot, this making monsters subplot. There is also an army is struggling to come up with new ideas to fight Godzilla subplot in what's already a very packed movie.
And this is only
then because of the director's love of 80s action movies,
12 minutes in. 12
minutes. The director's love of 80s action movies. On top of all that, they cram a couple like shootouts and car chases and little fisticuffs in there.
Right.
And it's like a breathless, out of breath movie. Very intelligent ideas about how the balance of power in the world can change if a country like in the Middle East gets this flower that can grow in any even in the desert it'll grow,
right,
and that'll make them even richer. It'll change the balance of power of the world,
right.
Or like if this doctor can create a Biollante monster, then will countries start buying up monsters, have their own like army, right? Very interesting ideas, but dramatic flaws.
Like you really didn't need the psychic character girl, I think, in this movie at all. I don't know. That's just like, listen, it's just my opinion.
Not at all, but
sure, it's true. But like all she does is sort of warn you that Godzilla's about to come, or that Biollante is about to be formed, because she can sense her spirit, right? Erica's spirit. She senses it.
And apparently, the director of this movie got the job by coming up to the producer Tomoki Tanaka and saying, Godzilla 1984 was such a rehash. We can do better than that. And they were impressed with his balls.
I guess. Okay.
This is interesting too. Godzilla Memorial Lounge. This makes me think if this was the real world, there would be a Godzilla Memorial Lounge.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're. This one that. I think this film is very similar to Godzilla 1984, even though the director wanted to make a completely opposite movie. He thought Godzilla 84 was just a remake of the original idea of the original movie with no new ideas.
Right.
And this one, he wanted the ideas to be like off the wall, crazy, what you never expect. So he wanted to make it like the opposite of 84.
Yes.
But I think they're very similar in one way. In just like Shin Godzilla, they treat it as like if these crazy psychic girls were real, and if this ghost inhabiting the spirit of the guy's dead body inhabiting a plant monster was real, and Godzilla was real, then this is how the world would react. They would fight over who can possess this technology.
Right.
The countries would kill each other. Scientists, would sell their research to corporations. The army would struggle with finding a way to stop these monsters. Like it's the whole film just treated like if this really happened.
But it wants you to buy like 3 absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's simultaneously preposterous and serious.
Yes. Right? Yes.
When we say preposterous, once again, apparently, so when they were doing the early scripts, they decided that the Biollante was originally going to be a cross between the girl's DNA and plants to create a monster, but then the producer Tomoki Tanaka insisted that they had to include Godzilla DNA in the Biollante as an excuse to make him grow large, because how else is he going to grow big and fight Godzilla?
Right. So you're saying a lot of it's like an afterthought.
Well, no, I just mean like amidst all these utterly bonkers ideas, plus psychic girls, dead girl inhabiting the spirit of the monster, psychic girls, psychic children, amongst all that craziness, it's completely serious. It's
Yes.
dead serious,
Yes.
stone-faced.
There's
And-
no. Actually, I think there's no humor in this film at all.
And the real world, and also the real world implications of different countries, like, raising their position in the world by having new technologies, but other countries wanting to bomb those countries not to get that technology.
Right.
So it's like real world and serious and ludicrous.
Not to interrupt, but this scene is quite iconic in this film. It's almost like the first right here.
Oh,
When they all pull out, it's just, I don't know what it is. Maybe the anticipation of seeing Godzilla, but it's and the theme blares.
yeah, it's
Something out of nowhere.
It's
But
like, don't worry, he's coming.
Well, I find one of the things that's interesting about these types of films, and they started changing later on, was that there's this weird editing style in Godzilla '84 and Godzilla versus Biollante where they'll cut out the music. Like there'll be like a big moment where like bombastic music will start playing, and then it'll just sort of cut out by the time the next scene starts, as if, I don't know what it is. It's like I would notice that more modern films would follow up with that theme. Like it just seems less jaunting, I suppose. By the way, that statue at the back, if I'm not mistaken, is that Godzilla versus King Kong, the giant X plus figure. It's out of focus right now, but earlier it looked like a Godzilla versus King Kong X plus figure. Oh, by the way, this character now here's another subplot, right? The young military officer versus sort of the old guard in ways on how to
Interestingly, the old guard officers do.
We're dealing with like 6 subplots in the first 15 minutes.
The older military officers talk about the guy saying, it's time for us to pass the torch. He's the future and stuff. Which might also be speaking about the Godzilla series. This is passing the torch.
Oh, that's
this
too
is the
funny.
future.
That would be amazing. And you know what? Knowing how people are with their egos, I would not be surprised. Okay, by the way, now, so they're sensing that, earthquakes around the volcano. Damn, we were really hoping Godzilla was just going to go away. And just stay there forever. But turns out he's pissed and he wants to come out. Okay, now we have maybe the most popular character of maybe the Heisei series. I noticed a lot of fans are really have taken to Goro, is his name, I think?
Was that his name in Space Godzilla? Or Gondo? Colonel Gondo?
Oh, it's a Colonel Gondo. Never mind. Sorry about that. Okay. And he is so... Here's the thing. I honestly think that his lines are really dry, but the way he plays the character, it looks like he's just having such a great time. There's a lot of energy. The aviators, like he makes the character his own. And he kind of steals the show. Because everyone else is a zombie. That is an X plus figure of Godzilla versus...
I like how this movie's saying Godzilla used to look like that crocodile, and he also used to look the way he did in the first scenes from '84, but now he looks like this. He changes his appearance, and that's canon in the world.
Wait, this doesn't make any sense. Because according to them, nothing after Godzilla 54 happened. So why is there a statue of Godzilla versus Kong?
Yep.
Scratch. It's like...
it's an OMA!
Well, apparently...
All right, but now we get scientific again, don't we?
Oh yeah, a lot of prequel Star Wars trilogy. 2 characters walking through, exposing dialogue or whatever you call it. Expository dialogue, exactly. And it's not like the camera's whooshing. All the President's Men, where the camera will be whooshing across the newsroom. This is just very static, they're just talking.
They're talking about something that eats nuclear radiation. They're setting up the later scenes when they'll use it on Godzilla.
Yes.
And how many characters does this movie already have? 9? 12?
Mm-hmm. But you were saying that this might not be a sign of a bad film because you studied Japanese films. Certain Japanese
more
films.
Ensemble.
Yes, they have more of an ensemble idea of a sort of a protagonist cast instead of a one protagonist. So,
but now here you see like scientists working together with the military to better the nation of Japan, bring up their position in the world.
Well, Godzilla, in a way, I think since the original movie, has always kind of been about, how does Japan fit into this? Like, how is Japan affected?
How important are they on the world stage? How powerless are they?
I don't know what the world... I think 84 was the first time that they had the whole world stage.
Thing is, like, the early movies, like, the first one is very anti-nationalistic. Like, the scientist creates a weapon that can kill Godzilla, but he won't give it to the military. He doesn't want the Japanese country to have it, because they can't handle it.
Oh.
In this movie, it's a lot more pro-military now.
Yes.
There are a lot of scenes of the military coming up with ideas and sending putting their plans into action.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So you're saying that
and they're also kind of saying that like how this new technology, like this plant that can grow anywhere, or these cells that can create new Godzillas, can be beneficial to Japan, right?
right.
I mean, they're a lot less shameful of nationalism here, a lot more like proud of
like well, the military is not depicted as having any interests outside of helping Japan, right? It's like they're just very pure in what they are.
Right.
But here's the thing: the Heisei series seems to be very positive towards the military, but then you have the Millennium series, which seems like they seem like actual
join the army,
recruitment videos,
even casting like very attractive women in the main role,
yes,
even though like absolutely. I don't think the Japanese army had women in positions like that in real life.
But you watch Godzilla X Mecha Godzilla, and you're like, oh, wow,
I can meet chicks like this in the army.
Absolutely, right.
Well, anyway, what are they talking about? Science now?
Okay. At this point, I'm not saying this.
What I'm trying to say is this is like corporations trying to tell scientists, like, you must sell your science to us.
I'm not trying to be like Ralph Wiggum, like, where's Godzilla? Where's Godzilla? I have to. Okay.
So,
to be honest,
so America's biomajor. Basically,
I don't. Here, he shows them the cells now. They're in the ice, right? Like in the fridge or the freezer. It's not bad. To be honest, actually, the first set piece of the film happens at the 30-minute mark. So the film knows what it's doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not... I don't think it's... This isn't Highlander 2 in terms of, like, listen, we salvaged what we could.
This dialogue is, like, thematic, right? Different countries fighting over resources. And they're literally, like, saying, like, us, different countries fight over resources, but this one gives us an edge. But with you scientists helping this country get an edge over other countries, right? The dialogue isn't personal about people. It's thematic. Right here, Japan has suffered the devastation of a nuclear bomb, and now it's our turn to have a weapon that can protect us from our enemies, which would have been a controversial thought in Japan and was not allowed to have an army. Right. Or now we can use technology to, who are your enemies, Japan, in 1989, really, right?
Well, from what I understand, okay, Godzilla's about to be born, by the way.
Ultimately, though,
so right now everyone's freaking out. Godzilla's about to come out, and everyone's really worried.
Well, it's like they do maybe like the implication here with the America's BioWare. It could be that America's their enemy, but the movie doesn't want to say that so blatantly. So it's just an American shell corporation, right?
I see.
In the original, one of the original drafts by
they're wearing USA hats, by the way.
One of the original drafts by a guy named Kobayashi, who was a dentist, who he had the biomajor be the CIA itself, fighting over these cells.
So we know what it is.
And then, I must do something or else Erica will die. So this is your mad scientist moment.
Here's the thing. It's almost the first instance. Okay, so this character is obviously for himself, right? He doesn't really care about what's going on with Godzilla. Well, obviously, he sees it as a threat, but they show that he's not working for him, right? The conglomerate, the business guy.
Right, and he's also mad.
Well,
but he's not completely unsympathetic. And now we're switching over to
romance, maybe.
The idea here is
he's in a league to America, right? He's telling her this, right? Yeah. It's like
there are two doctors characters, right? One is more like a good, wholesome doctor who wants to defeat Godzilla, help Japan be strong, and the other one is tormented, right? And essentially both doctors have different technology. This guy has like the Godzilla, the nuclear eating bacteria, and the other one has the ability to make giant monsters, and this one has the ability to remove radiation from existing. They're just two super brilliant guys.
Well, in narrative terms, it looks like the causer, like the character that causes the narrative to push forward, and the one who's trying to stop him, basically, right? It's like
this is true. This is true. This mad scientist, let's say, drives the narrative forward by making a monster, and the other scientist ends the narrative by creating a solution to defeating one of the monsters.
This scene, the way it's shot, everything edited, it's like a mad. It looks like it's alive, or the thunder, the lightning outside of it.
Yeah,
Like he's creating an aberration. That's sort of the idea, right? Like I think no one in this film sees Biollante and goes, yeah, that's the future.
Age-old story of science gone wrong, right? Frankenstein,
Age-old
Prometheus taking fire from the gods to make horrible abominations.
You're saying that the idea that humanity cannot harness divinity.
Yeah. Well,
right?
Yeah.
Which is probably like from
demons.
No, I would say divinity. Well, here's the thing: the demon.
Did you see that little snarl he does?
Does he do that?
Yeah, it's like some bad boy snarl. And here he is, like, pretending to be awake during the conversation, but he's really thinking about his real plan.
I guess so. I never understood. Here's the thing. Honestly, this is my ignorance, but I don't understand Japanese acting. Like, there's a lot of conventions that I don't get. So I find that the Japanese acting is a little bit understated, and I don't understand the nuances.
I feel like
I find a Japanese viewer would get. So this actor right now, I feel like he's not even, like, he doesn't even know he's on set right now. Like, for me, as a Western viewer. But he's just so blank-faced, right? But, maybe to a Japanese, like, obviously, the interpretation is not meant to be this. So I'm sure he's giving a great performance.
I believe the chubby gentleman in the middle is supposed to be greedy and rich. Dirty, rotten, filthy, stinking rich. And I want to get richer, baby.
There you go. I'm sure his accent is exactly that. His tone is exactly that.
And these are the mutants. They have powers like Cyclops.
Hey Siri. Okay, Godzilla's about to be born now. Or sorry,
Godzilla just spent 5 years burning in a volcano. It was inevitable he would come out.
Well, I paid my movie ticket, so yeah, he better come out. Okay, here's the thing.
I paid $500 for this Miramax Blu-ray.
He's been.
I did not.
He's been in lava. Is that the Super X2? I love how the director hated the first film. It's like, you know what? Let's bring the main weapon.
I believe that was Hoichi Kawakita, the special effects director, who I believe his favorite movie was The Mysterians, and he was obsessed with mecha, which why you will see mecha in every single Godzilla movie going forward. Not quite, but I think he did the effects up until Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. So.
Okay.
Well, so this is an update on, this is another way to tie this film into the previous movie, right? The previous movie had the military, who were not big characters like they are here.
Commander from Gamera 2, the guy in the glasses, that's the military guy, the actual commander, the main, probably one of the protagonists of Gamera 2. So, continue, sorry about that.
That was it. So I guess this would tie this into the previous movie, which... Oh, I was saying the Super X appears in the previous movie, but the military is not that big of a presence. They just pop up with their new machine, and then they go away. And the rest of it's just like the Prime Minister, right?
Oh my god.
But no, see, like the previous Godzilla movie, this is a film, I think, for adults. It was meant for an adult audience. And it was meant for an audience that they thought could keep up with these high-minded, sort of ethical battles. Is it right for countries to... destroy other countries to get ahead with technology. And
I'm not saying this is bad.
It's for adults, just like Godzilla 84. And they really didn't want to make it for kids anymore. Right?
Here's the thing: has that ever resulted in, sort of a positive gross in terms in kaiju history? Like you told me once that Gamera 2, I think was totally meant for adults, and kids were losing their minds.
Look at the grosses of Batman versus Superman versus the Marvel movies.
Okay, that's it right there. Yeah.
Making cheesy sci-fi for adults, which these last two films were decidedly supposed to be for grown-up audiences. After this movie disappointed at the box office, and they furiously backpedaled to making films of child-friendly. And so this movie kind of represents what could have been.
Right.
It's like a dead end in the Godzilla franchise. They made two Godzilla movies for adults, 84, 89. And then they said, not enough money. We're making this strictly for nostalgia market and for the kids.
Right.
Oh, okay. So,
this
Little Shop of Horrors.
But it's, to be honest, we're talking limited budget.
You know what?
It's pretty good.
But they're teasing you, Like, here's some shootout. Get a little bit of, You know, you're gonna some weird stuff going on later.
This stunt I've always appreciated with the slow motion jump out of the window, and he almost gets killed. The assassin, he actually survives, which shocked me. I didn't expect him to survive.
Right.
It's sort of I don't know, just I thought that they were going to sell Biollante now as being like unstoppable. So I'm like, he's going to kill whatever he touches.
How old were you when you saw this? Were you a kid?
No, I saw this as a teenager. Okay. I would have been 15 or maybe 18, 17.
Oh, really?
I saw it late.
I think I was. I'm gonna guess maybe 13, maybe 12.
No. You're right. I did rent it once when I was like about 14, 15. So I was a little younger, but not too much younger.
Yeah, I bought it. I had it on VHS, widescreen, with an English dub where every voice actor was Australian, and I believe they called him Godzilla.
Yeah, it's great.
The whole movie.
Wonderful.
They call him Godzilla the whole movie. That's my biggest memory.
I feel that they would have just made the mistake early on, and they're like, you know what, we already recorded this. Let's just keep going.
They call him Godzilla.
No, that's what I mean. Like, listen, we already recorded like an hour of calling Godzilla. Just keep going. It's fine.
But so that was like a very action scene.
Yeah,
obviously. But the director of this movie, Omori, loved like Lethal Weapon.
Minute 30. Okay, so
James
around minute
Bond.
30, you had your first early in the film, and then 30. So about 30 minutes apart. Two medium, or I don't know, smallish set pieces.
It's a very busy movie. So
yes,
I think what happened was after Godzilla 1984, Toho had no idea where they wanted the franchise to go. For 1984, they reused the original Godzilla movie. They knew they wanted it serious. They knew they wanted it for adults.
But it's not the original movie at all.
Well, they made it similarly, 84, right? It was just
No.
in this. It was like
okay,
maybe
this
in
is
the
really
style.
cool. I love the build-up, by the way, to Biollante. Like, we're talking like what really... Because, okay, listen, there has to be something exceptional about this film, despite its, clear flaws. Because, obviously we know about the famous vote in Japan. This was voted the most popular Godzilla film of all time. So, in Japan. So, okay. There's a lot of build-up towards Biollante with the psychic and her visions and everything, which is really cool. I like it. I like the soundtrack a lot, too. It's very, very good.
I think Toho had a lot to prove. I think they were saying, like, we're going in a new direction, a bold direction. We're going to make a Godzilla movie different than what you've seen before.
Right.
It's going to be creative.
Yes.
But it's going to be serious. And it's going to be for adults. And it's going to have action scenes because it's going to be more modern. And
so what did it say? Adults were not interested in this. Like, you don't go to a Godzilla movie to talk about international.
I believe it sold 2,800,000 tickets in Japan, as opposed to 84, which I think sold like 3,700,000, something like that.
So it wasn't Mega Guerra's disaster, I guess.
No, Mega Guerra's, I believe, sold under 1 million
Wow.
tickets, or maybe 1.2 million.
Wow.
But very,
I
very poor.
actually really like Mega Guerra's, but
that's the next time after this movie that Toho decided to create an entirely new monster, because you can argue Space Godzilla's been rehashing. Destin Troy has sold based on the last one ever. And,
that's interesting.
and I mean, 2000 was kind of Godzilla's back. I mean, I don't know.
But they didn't
obviously.
market Orga at all.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, Mega Greers was just the first time maybe the marketing was only there's a new monster. I don't consider Space Godzilla a new monster. He's Godzilla with a hat.
Listen, they worked on their new roar.
Yeah, but
okay. So here's the thing. I think that Alexa, stop.
Alexis. I
I
can't say
think-
her name.
I think that Toy. My theory is that Toy, when they saw this and they saw the gross, they didn't think the movie was too slow or whatever. I think they thought the monster wasn't a draw. I think they thought, like, had it been Ghidorah, it would have been the biggest movie.
I also heard they actually went out on a press conference before Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. They said, we messed up with Biollante.
Yeah,
we
said
didn't.
that?
Yes, Tatanka said at a press conference, we neglected children. And I mean, in an ideal world, would they have?
This is it. This is the big moment. By the way,
I'm
the
saying,
music.
in an ideal world, though, if they made
Look at
like
the
four
music.
more serious Godzilla
Look,
films
they-
like this,
This
I think that's
shot
what the fans
is
want.
wonderful, wonderful. Like, I believe that Biollante is that huge right now.
and it captures horror, and it captures majesty.
Oh,
or
yeah,
awe,
majesty.
but horror,
Which, here's the funny thing, like, this film is so criticized because of its subplots, etc. This is more majestic than almost any of the Godzilla films from the Heisei series. I'd say even the Millenniums. This is an amazing movie, like moment.
It's not cheesy.
No,
the giant
no.
rose
And
showing
all the
up there.
photographers, it gives a lot of semblance of
And it's-
seriousness. Like the psychics here, they're all staring at it. The music's really good.
And that's what I feel like this movie, despite its overstuffed plot with probably too many subplots and too many one-dimensional characters, it's a lot. It's like this is what could have been Godzilla. We could have had movies with serious ideas and creepy scenes.
Everything about this is gorgeous. The shot is beautiful, and I love how it pans down.
You Japanese in 1989 didn't buy enough tickets, so
I mean, it's not our fault. We didn't even have a chance. Like I don't know if this would have been hit in America.
Would have bought 10 tickets to see this.
Canada, but yeah.
I believe it almost got a theatrical release, and I believe it was only Toho wanting too much money. For the
Really?
rights.
So it might have actually come out.
I think Toho was bitter because Godzilla 1985 made a ton of money for New Line Pictures and saved them from bankruptcy. Because Godzilla 1985 was a fairly sized hit in America, and I think at that point Toho won a lot of money for this because they didn't want the American distributor making a ton of money and then making none of the cut, other than just the sale to them.
Okay.
And it was released. It was released in America in 1992 on HBO. So direct to cable.
So people
not even direct to DVD. It was direct to cable.
So by the way, example
To
here,
HBO,
music. Like I think in a modern film, the music would actually keep going at this point and sort of carry into the scene, but it just stops, and it just seems like this is like a sort of a larger topic, but these Godzilla Heisei films sort of feel like
I don't understand what scientists are trying to do nowadays. Should be a military guy like me who's used firepower, kill. Trying to understand the demons, we should kill the demons. They're representing every aspect of society. The scientists and the military man working together for Japan.
One side is pragmatic, the other side is thinking about the future. I don't know, but okay. So hold on. Okay,
I love these cars. Hey, bro. Got that Godzilla cell I ordered.
I don't know why. I just feel like acting this would have been so much fun. Like we're actually in that Godzilla. But yeah.
But what's happening here in the scene?
So I
don't know.
Okay, that does not add credibility to us. You should pay attention.
I've seen this movie so many times,
no.
and there's elements of it that's still kind of,
Okay, they're both. I'm pretty sure that the orange shirt guy was sleazy, but they're both being maybe not betrayed, but they're both being jumped by the assassin, the Arab assassin, Saradian assassin. Yes. Let's just consider that country to be real.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. So,
that Saradian agent again. Where is this guy from? I do not understand that accent. Very, very interesting to know.
The fact that they would only send one agent trying to get whatever. Listen, this is so easy to poke fun at.
Okay, I would say
the film right
what
now
is it?
wants us to shut our. Here's the thing.
This is the director saying this isn't your father's Godzilla.
No, but the film is like, okay, remember this. Take this into account. All of a sudden, shut your brain off. This is now a heist movie, I guess. Like this is right. There's like a bomb.
This is now a salvage job.
Look, R-rated. Like I just got shot in the head,
Right.
and
That's cool.
the music's excellent.
It has a descending motif as he's descending the stairs. Yeah. Are you trolling me, Omori? Are you trolling?
Excellent. Oh, you're saying the movie's trolling you? Like we're gonna make this excellent one scene and then bad the next one?
I don't even know.
No, I really think it's about convention. It's just that I think this is not what I'm used to. I'm not used to having an ensemble cast of so many minor characters who are apparently the main characters.
It feels like honestly, it feels like a scientific big ideas drama that gets interrupted every few minutes for random action.
I see.
And
I think you're right. That's actually a really good point.
And I feel like the scientist, Dr. Shiragami, the bad one, is bad in quotes, is the only one that has a lot of character development. And maybe that smirking military guy who just doesn't trust them scientists.
Well, because to me, maybe it's from Western fiction, but usually an aberration of nature. But I'm pretty sure this would be the case in Japan too. But they don't treat him as contemptible. The doctor.
Well, the thing is,
they treat him as like, you feel sorry for him. His daughter died. This is sort of like a natural expression of his grief.
I think America is a very Christian country with a lot of fear about people playing God. I think maybe in Japan, playing God isn't considered like, oh, it's a sin to play God.
But I don't know. This is
almost
all
like-
pure. Like this is me just guessing at this
Well,
point.
I don't think they have that deep, like, Christian religious influence. And the guy just said amen as the bomb takedown to zero, which is pretty awesome.
That's funny. But now Godzilla's born. Does that have anything to do with? Okay, this shot, by the way, this is like the best Godzilla suit ever. I mean, let's just be honest. He looks more than just angry. He's like mean down to the core. There's something about Godzilla. This Godzilla.
5 years of stewing in the fire.
Made him a-
I don't know. I like to say he looks a cat-like in this. You might be thinking cat-like. I don't know. That's what I feel.
I can see it a little
Can I
bit.
explain it? No.
Maybe his eyes. He doesn't have the ears. That's
He's
for
cat-like.
sure. That's for sure.
He's like reptilian and cat-like. But is this the best-looking Godzilla suit?
It's a specific suit.
I think...
They don't repeat it in the next movie, do they?
No, I think they make the eyes grow bigger. The eyes are bigger.
So he's like a tweener,
By
not a
Godzilla
face.
vs. Batra, he gets like this golden hue in the eyes. I think
Yeah.
he gets chunkier as they go along.
Yeah, the golden... Is that from Batra or from
I believe...
Oh, this is so funny. The demon guy? I never... Like, this is like... Look. He's like all like in character and he's like, oh, sorry, news report. Sorry about that. It's so funny. Like, I don't know why. It's just... Okay.
It's just showing regular life getting interrupted.
But I think it's the only moment of humor in the whole film. And it's actually, I think, legitimately funny. Like, there's also another moment when they show a concert in Osaka.
Yeah.
Oh, that shot is amazing. Biollante is crying. There's a very emotional element to this film.
Was Awakening Godzilla part of anyone's plan, or that was just a little screw up that happened when the bomb went off?
I think the bombs were set earlier and they were launched in that scene, and I understood that. I really should have understood this time.
To wake him.
I think it was purposeful, but okay, let me just skip through that now because another Super X2 scene is coming, and it's excellent. The music, the 3D thing is, I think it's cool. It works. The music, forget it.
I mean, it's
Forget
funny
it.
for a film that's as good as this. It has the worst CGI ever and the worst acting ever at different moments with the.
But the CGI is paid off as like it's from a computer's point of view.
It's being used as CGI.
This looks so good. You don't have to. It's even far. Look at that shot.
It looks like that pool is huge.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Like it's kilometers long. It's massive.
Yeah.
Like it actually feels like that for sure. Brilliant.
Godzilla's suit's
This
not
is
disintegrating.
way better than anything ready for, in my opinion. Like the night attack scene with the airplanes look okay compared to this.
I think. Yeah, I mean,
There's helicopters, the ships.
this film takes the monster scenes to another level that it hadn't been before.
Ever.
And
Maybe you could argue terror in terms of glossiness, because terror is pretty glossy, but still.
Terror.
I do too. I really enjoyed it. That's a great shot. That's even used in the intro for Final Works because it's such a sick shot. They use it.
Just okay.
Now this is the moment where the youngin shows up with the Super X2.
This film kind of creates the formula for the Godzilla films going forward, where you have a lot of military people looking at a screen.
2 tens. By the tens, they're like 10 out of 10 women or men.
Yeah.
By the way, the music is just like best theme of the Heisei series, in my opinion. But the Super X2 is incredible. It's like John Williams level. It's amazing.
I always thought maybe the Super X. I always thought it sounded like the end credits of Superman the movie or the opening credits of the 1978.
I'm sure this.
Superman movie.
Look, this shot is great. It's like a very. Listen, we're supposed to feel in favor of the youth guy, even though he's kind of starting to be incompetent the whole film. There's a lot of reviews that joke about this, but it's like
no,
he's
doomed. He's like I'm out of my element here, fighting Godzilla.
Fighting an immortal god monster. Okay. But the guy is condescending to him right now. He grabs his hat. He goes, "Oh, the youth corps, right? Like, listen, Super X is down to me. Yeah, bro, youth corps, huh? You're from the newly formed elite unit, huh?" And he smiles, looks at him.
But you know what? It's not even like it's like, all right, let's see what you got. The older guy's saying it's fair respect.
I guess you could interpret that as that, but I have no way of knowing for sure, to be honest, because I don't know the intonation that they're using in Japan. The music incredible, the girl's gorgeous. The guy, by the way, is the star of the next movie. He's literally an extra in this film, and he's like the star of the next film.
We needed some hot people to show you that you want to join the military.
Too funny. By the way, this fight scene is so. The music. Look at this. Look at this.
Fire mirror. I like the sound of that.
It just sounds cool, and if you're a Godzilla fan,
Fire
you
mirror.
cannot be at the edge of your seat at this moment. The CGI even is so cool. The
You know,
sound
it's
effects.
a great usage of CGI.
I think so too on the computer. Godzilla looks great here. The beam comes out really well.
And I mean, I guess it's kind of a rematch.
Yeah, it is in a way. He's like an upgraded version of the first movie.
Yeah.
And he's shooting back at him, which looks great, by the way. Actually, looks like it's damaging him. Looks great. Great shot.
I mean, it's
Oh,
in a sense, it's a disjointed movie. You got your science talk, you got your action scenes, you got your monster stuff.
but here's the thing, like I'm here for Godzilla, right? The stuff that matters, that really, really matters, it kills it. Look at this right here.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
That shot is incredible.
Man
I love that
versus
shot.
machine. Military intelligence versus the brute power.
Yes, and the shaking of the camera. First time you have to see Godzilla in many films that fall. Right? It's like a huge moment. Oh, what a moment! What a moment! And I think every Godzilla fan appreciates. And Super X2 goes underwater for some reason. I never understood that. Does he just follow him or something? It's kind of weird. But okay.
We liked the shot. We kept it.
It just fell in the water. We liked it. We put it into the movie as if it was part of the story.
So I was saying, like, this film now, it's showing the Japanese military as a character.
Yes.
In any of the Godzilla movies previous to this, the Japanese military, they just show up. They're like, all right, we're here. What do we do? Right? Here, there's some of the characters. And this creates the formula going forward where there are many scenes of military people sitting around desks watching the monster actually play out on a big screen, and then going, that plan B failed. What about plan C? Let's try this.
Right.
And this movie kind of creates the Godzilla formula going forward.
Right.
Whereas in the other movies, Godzilla would just fight another monster in
Right.
the 70s movies, or fight two monsters, or tag team. But in this movie, it's Godzilla fights another monster, and he fights the military like over and over as his other antagonist.
Right.
Not just as like one shot blows up two tanks on the way to fight the monster.
That's.
And
By the way, sorry, the Sereny guy wanted to leave, but all the airports are closed because Godzilla showed up. He's like, God damn,
which is
Godzilla.
once again the realism aspect of the film, right?
It wouldn't. Absolutely. Like, imagine, our airport being shut down the second Godzilla shows up. There's something about this film. So right now, everyone's reacting to Godzilla, right?
And my voice is getting scratchy.
Yes. So Godzilla sort of interrupted the film at this point. Here's the thing, but Biollante sort of interrupts the film. Oh, it's so interesting.
I'm
It's
sorry.
really all over the
I probably
place.
should have
It's really
done the research before watching this, if they awake Godzilla on purpose or not. But the fact that I'm not even sure probably is a deficiency in the film. On that, like, if anyone hears this, they're like, God, this idiot! It's so clear.
This feels like, I don't know, I'm watching The Dark Knight, but certain parts of The Dark Knight are like...
It's interesting how Dr. Shiragami has been nothing but contemptuous of the other Doctor,
Yes.
Kirishima.
Yes.
And yet that guy doesn't hate him back. He's not bitter about it.
No, he does. He
He's
mentions
just
it at one point, but they don't follow up with it. He's like, listen, man, you made this. And he's like, yeah, I did. And he walks away, and that's all you hear about it. He just kind of, drops it. I think this is a moment where, Biollante starts acting up for the first time. Biollante looks great.
And does
looks
he?
great.
And now, is this the moment where he realizes his foolishness?
He doesn't, though.
Because
he never does. He's more interested in Biollante. Like, he's in awe of it. Maybe it's no longer Erica's spirit.
But they just go with it. They just go with the fact that this girl is psychic, and they just go with the fact that...
Yeah. You're just supposed to buy it, but the film...
Now here they're saying it doesn't have Erica's spirit, just a violent monster cross-team from Planet and Godzilla. But when Biollante dies at the end, it's clear Erica's spirit was in it all along.
So, I guess if you watch the film from... So Godzilla just sends Biollante, or Biollante sends Godzilla. They sense each other. They're both going to get each other right now. Cool. Now, here's the thing. So, from this moment on, you can assume that Biollante is actually Erica.
Really?
Because it's revealed at the end, and it is. So, therefore, from this moment on, Biollante is Erica.
What's
so,
Erica?
underwater
like,
battle? We have not.
Please kill me.
Erica seems pretty upset because Biollante is pretty upset in this film. So right now, the Super X2 is attacking Godzilla underwater. I think Super X2 gets damaged, and I've not seen this in a long time.
I'm not even gonna lie, I haven't seen this in a long time either, and I don't.
Just a chance to hear the soundtrack again is incredible.
I don't think I've seen this since the Blu-ray came out, which was 2012.
Oh, they show that the reflector is burning up. Essentially, Godzilla's too powerful for it. Still so cool. Like, here's the thing: this film is so baffling on so many levels, and it's so good on so many levels. I don't think I've ever seen a movie
this
like
might really even feel like executive meddling, like Tomoyuki Tanaka, the
Oh.
producer, going, you know, though, we like that Super X scene from the last movie.
Right.
Throw some Super X in there.
Well, here's the thing.
Although we know the special effects
blame
guy
him.
loved
We love what?
mechs in general, and always try to include them often. From
But-
Mecha King Ghidorah to Mecha Godzilla to Moguera.
Did he continue on in some subsequent films?
Yes,
okay,
yes,
he
until
did.
Destroya.
Interesting. Okay, really? Until wait, he stopped at Destroyer?
No, it was the last one.
Okay, so he did the whole Heisei, basically. Okay,
No.
interesting. Because Heisei has Super X3. Like, they had to have the Super X3.
Yeah, he loved the mechas. Look, it was a new direction for the series. It wasn't just Godzilla versus Monster, you know.
Right, yeah.
But like, look, honestly, my favorite Godzilla movies are the Showa ones, and I think a lot of it is because they have sort of these human plots that don't regard the monster stuff. The human plots do their own thing, and the monsters fight, and they intersect. And a lot of the later ones, I feel there's a lot of static talking scenes where the military's going, well, I have this idea to stop the Godzilla, and then they try it, and they watch it on the screen, and they throw another idea.
Music.
Right. Which I don't think is as dramatically involved.
Like, just look how triumphant this is, right, the military. And Godzilla appears. How exciting is this, right?
You know, if anything, the mistrust, you can say maybe it's a right-wing reactionary film if all the mistrust is of scientists, but the military will always try their hardest.
Very interesting.
And sometimes the military will even incorporate the scientists' ideas when they're good.
Paul, I don't think that's an interpretation. I think that you actually nailed it.
It's almost like the merging of the heart and the mind, the fist and the...
Or more like the mind over the heart in this sense. So this is like the heart failing. This is Gulliver's Travels, right, when the fourth island, when all the wacky scientists are making their wacky bullshit.
And some of it's horrible, but some of it will save the day.
I think
it's such an interesting...
I think Gulliver's Travels, it's all bad. Like, it's portrayed as like garbage.
Yeah, but you know, like a lot of like 50s American movies, like The Thing, the scientist wants to study the monster. The military's like, kill it, and the scientist gets messed up for wanting to have the nerve to study that beast.
Of course.
But in this, hold on, I can't think anymore. The monsters are here. God.
No, there's a theory that says that Godzilla just demands your attention.
Yeah.
Like, you
I
can't.
totally can't remember what I was saying.
You're studying, and no, you look up. Godzilla's on screen. Sorry. Now, like, what does he want? Does he want the monster to survive, I guess? Does he want Erica to survive?
I think maybe Godzilla senses the fact that monster is made of Godzilla's cells, and he's like, is that me? What an abomination!
So this is interesting. They're both saying, like, listen, whoever wins this fight is going to be our enemy. That's cool. All right. It adds a little bit to the, I guess, something different.
But, yeah, in this film, so science is the cause of the trouble.
Right.
But the anti-nuclear bacteria, science is also the solution to the trouble.
Yeah.
So it's like ambivalent towards science.
Or maybe confused. I don't know.
Or maybe they're like, I don't know,
like,
we can't just defeat Godzilla with a bullet. We need to rely on something better.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. Like, here's the thing. If you walk into this film feeling that you're pro the scientists, I'm assuming you'll be a little bit sympathetic towards, like, their plight and what they created.
It's a really beautiful shot, too.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Like, good job, guys.
It's excellent.
Dude.
Excellent. That's what it is. So you know what? Here's the thing. This feels like script's not so good. Like
More than just the same family. They are identical, made from the same cells.
Right. And he announces, like, we're talking like center stage. Like, all right, like this is fact at this point. We're not even questioning this. We're believing he
That's
nailed
the
it.
idea of the film, though. Animal versus plant, right? They wanted Godzilla's opponent to be like the opposite of Godzilla, apparently. Right. Godzilla's reptilian, hard edge. The other thing's soft.
Right.
Nature.
One is like
male, like Godzilla. The other one's like female, has the soul of a female, Biollante. She's like the poison ivy, the mysterious,
feminine.
Right, the feminine.
Actually, it feels like the masculine against the feminine, to be honest.
Yes,
like
and they wanted it to be that.
Grotesque,
that's intentional. Yeah.
Versus, I mean, look at her. She's dying
the
over
masculine against the feminine, which was intentional as well.
It feels like it is. It really does. I mean, there's just the fact that she's a rose, right? And she's Erica, and it's a rose, a female.
But it's like, like even Mark One Biollante is kind of holding its own, right? Except Godzilla's got that god tier breath, but Biollante's trying what he can. That's a sneak attack, right? The vines are under the water. Godzilla didn't see them. They snuck up on him. That's using some intelligence.
And also making Godzilla not lose his credibility because it is a sneak attack. I'll say, you know what I mean? It's smart booking. In wrestling terms, this is smart booking.
I think that was a Cybot that they made, so that had the lip snarl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like they had it.
But Godzilla does away with Biollante pretty. Okay, this is interesting. The acid.
This is you know what this is? Like this was just long enough. It's like just long enough. It's just enough.
Yeah. I love the acid breath, and if Godzilla,
it's not like Godzilla Final War's too short, or like maybe Godzilla vs. Gigan too long. It's just enough.
Yeah, I agree because the fight ends like pretty soon, like in about a minute.
Right.
And Godzilla just kind of does away with his unlimited heat breath.
Here's a guess. I know that Amori, the director, once again said he has a quote saying, I like the Mysterians, I like Toho's early sci-fi films, but in the Godzilla movies, when they started wrestling, like doing judo moves, like two guys in rubber suits, I felt silly. I'm watching guys in rubber suits do judo moves. So I think the whole design of this monster was him basically going, I'm not doing a movie where guys in rubber suits do judo moves. Like, that's what I'm getting away from.
So,
I think that had
but to be honest, the only solution was beams.
Right.
And blocking beams. And apparently that does not even work because Godzilla just kind of, destroys Biollante at this point.
Yeah.
Which is sort of a shock, actually. You don't expect Biollante to lose so quickly.
But so like we've
it's like conclusive.
So we've had two quality what's the time on this film? So we've had two quality Godzilla battles against the military, against the Super X in 1 hour.
Yeah.
And
I see the Biollante stuff is impressive, to be honest. Even though Biollante doesn't do much, what it does do is cool. Even blocking, that was really cool whenever he lifted her vines, right, to block Godzilla. This is very poetic, very nice shot, right, with Biollante sort of burning up. You think that Biollante's dead here. I actually was kind of shocked that Biollante... Here's the thing. The trailer of this film reveals that Biollante has a final form. And so does, I think, the back cover of the VHS
just
or Blu-ray trailer.
So
you know this is not the end. So let's just, let's not even pretend. Like, at this point, we know Biollante.
The trailer of GoldenEye. This time, James Bond has met his match, Agent 006, his former buddy. The movie tells you that an hour in. You put it in the trailer.
He can't die after all. It's immortal. So what is this saying? That he sees her literal spirit like rising up and surviving this? Very strange. So right now the military's trying to figure out, okay, where's Godzilla going to go?
Okay.
So we're forgetting everything to do with the cells. We're forgetting everything to do with the politics of the countries fighting for the cells. Now it's about, what's happening with Godzilla?
Of the military being under crunch to come up with new solutions is kind of taking center stage. Like, does that story need to exist with the strength of the earlier material? If they
ignore it. You want more?
It's yes. So it's hard. So like once again, the film, there's scenes in the movie I love, and it has great ideas, and I wish the Godzilla franchise continued in this adult direction. Almost like if they had a 1970s Dalton Bond, if Roger Moore never came in, those would have been the greatest movies ever made.
Okay, think of it this way.
Disagree.
But
it's an overstuffed film. It's overstuffed with too many subplots. I think putting a huge emphasis on the military's multiple attempts at stopping Godzilla instead of continuing the scientists and the different countries fighting over the new technology. The political story, the science story maybe should have been more foregrounded and had less of the military having many, many different attempts at taking down Godzilla.
Because the military sort of takes over the film at this point, and it's...
Yeah.
Plus, let's not mention the psychic character, but she's sort of like a wild ace. She's just in the film.
So low battery?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So, yes, and the psychic is yet, maybe a continuation of the military threat. But it's an overstuffed film. Stuffed with characters, stuffed with subplots. But I guess at this point you're watching it, you're curious. Like, well, he just defeated Biollante. It's like, you probably don't even know what's going to happen next in this part of the movie, right?
Yeah, I guess it does. Well, okay, listen. Here's the thing. Is it good because, I always hated that shot. But is it good because it's unpredictable? Because Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah is the most unpredictable kaiju film I've ever seen. When I first saw it, I had no idea what was coming next. Like when I saw Mecha King Ghidorah, I blown away. I was like, "What is this?"
It is something I appreciate, the unpredictability. But
I actually really enjoyed it because of that.
I'm not one of the people that love this film like a lot of people do. Because at this point, I'm like, this human plot is so jumbled with scientific mumbo jumbo with random action scenes. At this point, it's almost like I'm just in it now for the monster stuff, which admittedly is amazing. And I do appreciate the idea.
The music's amazing.
But like, did this guy just become the main character 10 minutes ago? But 20 minutes ago, he wasn't even in the movie. The guy left. The guy left.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now he's the main character, but 20 minutes ago, he wasn't even in
the military young guy. Of course, yeah. I think you're right.
It's just a way of making films that you don't see. Right?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I think. I don't want to say I don't want to presume that this is this messed up. Like this could be
a style of filmmaking.
A style of filmmaking.
You do see the style in the Advent of Legion Gamera movie with multiple characters with small.
Look, very rah military. By the way, they're assembling, and it's very like your pro is just so sick. Right, the Super X2 is rising above.
I guess having the military...
that's a great shot.
I guess having the military involved and thinking of ways to defeat Godzilla makes these films more like set in the real world, like how it actually would be. But it almost
music,
seems,
by the way, music.
It almost just seems like all the scenes of military people watching giant screens going, all right, plan A, plan B, plan C. It's such a formula. I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, it's so cool. I love it.
I love the back of the Japanese map, like the hills, right? They're beautiful.
Oh, it's
absolutely gorgeous. Now, here's the thing. That is kind of, isn't it a little bit of Star Trek in a way? Like the whole, looking at the big screen and dictating a battle through strategy and tactics. Like it almost seems like, no, we do this, now launch this weapon, like right?
And then you have two sets of characters. You got the grunts on the ground, you can follow them, you can follow the people up in the command.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which causes, excuse for variety.
But then they just started making all the Godzilla films like that.
But can you blame this film for that,
yes.
right?
You can, but it was still fresh here.
That's what I mean. Like, this is... Exactly. It's not played out.
This created the Godzilla formula. This is Godzilla 2.
Right.
Godzilla Mark 2. This created the Heisei formula.
Right.
Beam battles. Godzilla not just fighting a monster, but fighting the military and another monster.
Right.
And that's sort of...
It's as if this became sort of the... Like,
they
took the best...
They took the template, and they kiddied it down.
They were like, listen, it was sick, Biollante, but let's change Biollante to something that'll make us money.
Let's use this new Biollante template with the old monsters that you know and love. Not that weird plant-girl hybrid. Who thought of that? Just kidding. Look. Yeah, it had to.
So, okay.
I mean... Great scene right here, but what's the point of it?
This film is more than just fascinating. It's more than just sort of the amalgamation
of
good and bad or whatever.
They had the original guy.
This was like an intention. There was like they wanted the series to go one way, and they went 180. Like actually, not really 180, more like modified. Here's the thing: what nailed it? Because I actually always thought the Heisei films were a little bit too kiddie. I thought Mothra was too kiddie, too kiddie. You had like the 4-year-old girl, like oh Mothra, you're so great. Whatever.
Mothra is like I hesitate to say magical because there's that
what
word,
nailed the adult and still fun formula, Gamera trilogy. The only time it's been nailed, in my opinion. And Millennium Godzilla movies, I think actually nailed it. In my opinion, I think they're actually fun and like adults can enjoy them. But the Gamera trilogy was basically this perfected. You know what I mean? It was like, listen, this is too straight, too serious. But the Gamera films aren't even like wacky or anything. They're just fun.
The Gamera gives you the joy of having a hero monster, which is just a good feeling. And this film doesn't give you that.
But the hero, you're absolutely right.
You're
absolutely right.
Biollante, you want to be able to cheer.
You're not cheering for Biollante, and you're not really cheering for Scary Godzilla, right? Like he's just sort of there.
Although I will say, this film does do one incredible thing to me, which in the later battle when Godzilla fights the final form of Biollante, Godzilla seems like scared and outmatched against this colossal beast. And it's like maybe the first time where Godzilla feels like the potential underdog, which is such an achievement.
To be honest, I think you're right. I don't remember Godzilla ever.
But this young scientist, who I don't think this young scientist, right? I'm sorry, this young military man Takashima, the actor.
He knows what's going on.
The young military man, he just looked in the camera and said, I believe in this psychic girl. And he's never shared a scene with her all movie. He's never had a line of dialogue exchanged with her. He just looks
you're right.
dramatically
Listen, I can't even joke about this. That's
into the
ridiculous.
camera.
That's ridiculous.
It's so overstuffed. But you know what it is? It's so overstuffed with ideas. This movie probably should have been slow paced.
This scene is actually pretty great. This is actually pretty great.
It is.
When she challenges them and tries to... Actually, to be honest, they use this moment for the rest of the series as her psychic connection to Godzilla.
It's like they wrote this in with consideration for future films.
They just used it later on. But look, right now she actually passes out because she tries to form a link with him. But later on, like in the next film, she's like, "Oh, I've established a link with him since that moment." But it was almost unintentional.
Another idea they kind of had in the Gamma movies. I was gonna say something. Oh.
She falls, and then I would not go up to her. Sorry.
You know what? I said. This movie's so filled with random ideas and so many random characters, but the other reason why it's so confusing, exhilarating, breathless, it's not only is it so complicated, it's also super fast-paced.
Yeah.
Going from scientist exposition to super action-y, but there's very little character stuff.
Yes.
Super exposition, super action, and they keep it confusing, and they keep it super fast-paced, which you might love, because they are throwing great action scenes at you.
That's the thing. It's like, imagine if Mad Max Fury Road was surrounded by an weird...
Now I remember. My emotion about this film growing up was awesome action set pieces, so many, kind of joined together, like haphazardly strung together with this confusing narrative.
Yes. And, 20 characters? Like, trying to... push the narrative forward.
What though? Is this the most ambitious they ever got? Yeah.
Maybe in Godzilla history. Okay, by the way, this is so funny. Watch this. Look, it's so 80s. I love it. Watch this.
I'm dancing.
No, it's a joke. Watch. It's like, look. It's hilarious. I love that. It's like, everybody, sorry. And you have like this whole... Oh, by the way, you told me that the composer, his name is...
I don't know.
The original composer, sorry.
Akira Ifukube, he hated the fact that they turned his music into pop.
Yes.
That they gave it pop arrangements.
And, it's just like, it's Godzilla with, whatever, guitar, Godzilla, whatever.
Ifukube was a very strong-willed man.
Let's just say.
Very stubborn.
Yeah, I heard he was sort of an alpha male. Tough guy.
He couldn't work with Kurosawa because they just fought. It's like... Your composer's telling you, like, nah, bro, do it this way.
Amazing. But, by the way, yeah, in case you were wondering, massively wacky scene coming up where they boink the guy in the head right now. Right?
I heard it's so out of place.
And he has a helmet and everything. It doesn't make any sense. And it's ridiculous, and it's funny. And this movie at this point has been totally straight.
And they spelled Saradia wrong. Saladia.
No way.
On his hat. On his construction helmet.
Stop. And they're not even worried. Like, they're about to get into a physical confrontation here. They're like, bro, let's do this. Like,
This guy's like laughing. He's like, oh, I can't wait to scrap.
Exactly. Like, obviously. Like, here's the thing. This movie's supposed to be super adult, super serious, and then you have this.
There's throwing everything at you. Psychic girl just spoke to Godzilla a second ago.
Humor. Comedy.
Well, so you have different corporations, different governing bodies fighting over cutting-edge technology that will give one corporation or one government body the edge over the others. You could consider the bio-major enemies to be the CIA of America, which they were in the original script. I want you to make sure that the Japans are not perceived. You know what? It was made for a Japanese audience.
But it's like, I
don't get it.
This was shot, and the director said, "Yeah, perfect. Run with it." Print.
It's interesting because, like, here he's basically calling death to Dr. Shiragami, a guy he was working with earlier, his friend, his ally, right?
I love his reaction here. It's so casual. Damn, Godzilla. Damn it. No. God darn it. What can I do?
Should. Damn. It's Godzilla.
Like he's acting like, look, we just had a blackout. Like, you know what I mean? It's the most casual thing ever. Damn, it's Godzilla.
And
By the way, this is one of the best action scenes of the whole franchise, right? Like even Millennium, I would say. Look at this
if you
set
walked
for
in-
Osaka. It's gorgeous.
so this is when Godzilla was 80 meters, not 100, like it would be in the later Heisei film. So
Right.
here they were allowed to make the miniatures on a bigger scale. This, to me, I always said this was up until this point the greatest Godzilla scene ever, where he attacks Osaka here. It's just next level filmmaking. Got a little camera shakes.
The fire in the
You
background.
got Ifikube's theme, even though he wasn't the composer for this movie. They knew to use it.
Right.
I mean, that might be some stock footage from the
That's a
scene
great
that
shot
was
right
there.
here. Great shot. Like, it actually feels like he's huge. It's amazing. This is from a different film, right?
That's from like Sinking of Japan, a disaster movie that maybe they took a few snippets of footage from. But I mean, my goodness, this is the shot, the money shot. They film it from under.
Yeah, it's great. Like, he looks
It's
great. The building looks
the
amazing.
fire, the smoke, the miniatures, the ad for Mitsubishi. Oh, come on. This is what you want. It's magic. The music's magic. The suit looks incredible. The fire
Yeah,
looks
it's great. If I was seeing this in theaters and
You get chills up your
even
spine.
now, it's like, I mean, yeah,
If
absolutely.
you were a Godzilla fan, the moment you saw that,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know.
Well, I had not seen this for many years, and then once you showed me this movie, and I was like half asleep, and I remember I told you, like, my whole Godzilla fandom was revitalized with these scenes. I was like, this is amazing.
Like, I love how it's a
The Lights of
series,
Super X 2, and the
it's-
night scene with the building lit up, very 84
It's a
reminiscent.
serious movie. You don't have to feel embarrassed watching it.
No.
It keeps giving you action scenes.
Yeah.
They're well directed. There's so much to love about the movie, and there's so much to dislike about the movie. But I think in general, because of its ambition and its excellence of execution.
Yeah. Yeah. Execution is impressive.
And with its serious ideas, and also with the goofiness of what came after,
Right.
it's a highlight. Yeah.
You can really feel it if you watch this film after watching
You
it
could say
before.
this is the most influential Godzilla film ever made, because the rest of them copied this kind of formula,
Right.
With the Godzilla fighting the military.
They just changed it enough to make it profitable.
right.
Right? It's like,
It's like Genesis prog rock. The first couple albums too proggy, man. Dial it back. Add some Phil Collins love ballads. Keep the prog. Keep the formula. It's gonna sell.
we're onto something here.
They were onto something here, and if it paid off for them, obviously, but they were onto something here for sure. And I think they weren't onto something in Godzilla '84. They just used the formula kind of from the first Godzilla film, kind of spliced it into some disaster movies, but they didn't know where to go from there. I think that's one of the reasons why it took this movie 5 years to be made. They didn't know where to go after Godzilla 1984.
Right.
They didn't want it to be like nuclear power made another monster. Oh, aliens came again. There was a script contest because I think Toho was so scared and out of ideas with what to do for Godzilla, they created a script contest for this film. And a lot of the scripts they got were about alien invaders, or the U.S., or even Adolf Hitler trying to control Godzilla. True.
Great
The U.S.
shot,
trying to
great shot.
control Godzilla.
Around that building. The building is gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
The fire looks amazing, and that shot is Rex too. Oh, come on, stop it. Like at this point, they're just flaunting, right? They're just, it's just too good.
I
And Osaka has that big, I suppose.
Let's start the next movie.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, this guy who's trying to shoot Godzilla is a character that has his first line of dialogue, I think, right now. I mean, could that have been one of the main characters doing it? That's what I mean. It's just throwing so many characters at you and not giving you a connection to them.
I guess so.
It's,
that's that could also be just to play devil's advocate. Just a nitpick, right? It's like, I'd rather have less characters. I'd rather have more. All right.
Well, but like now he's getting his dramatic close-ups, and who cares? He's some guy you just introduced now. Just like this young military guy who becomes a main character, some guy you introduce an hour in. Like, give him some character.
He was there to Super X2, fought him earlier. But I know he's
Yeah.
But he's getting his close-ups for sure. Great shot, by the way. Wow.
Yeah, it really shows you the scale and the meticulousness and the size of the models.
Yeah.
But once again, giving this guy close-ups. He's not a character. He's an extra. Why is he getting his glorified time?
I believe in cinema that a lot of your suspension of disbelief has to do a lot with what you're willing to bring in. At this point, I do want to believe in Godzilla. Like, I'm watching this, I want to believe in Godzilla. So if you're watching it in that mindset, this film's incredible. Like, this is like actually Godzilla's right over building.
Like, look at those little construction scaffoldings there that was in the process of being built. Like, they added those details. Like,
very interesting. It never got this detail for the rest of the series. Only Gamera did.
Well, it's because they made Godzilla larger, which let them make smaller models.
Right.
And I mean,
look at that. This is Godzilla 84 level. Like, in terms of like a set piece. Oh, and by the way, you have this guy who, well, that's not him yet.
That's just more close-ups for what could have went to major characters. But that's, once again, just a style of filmmaking.
This is very interesting, this moment.
Well, we're in love. Yeah, I mean, a guy going up against Godzilla with a rocket launcher.
Listen,
I think that's the stuff of dreams.
A limited budget. Like, this looks good.
I mean, and also you never had like a guy going up against Godzilla with a rocket launcher before. It's but you see, these guys kind of take over as the main characters now.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
For the first hour, they're not even mentioned.
Right.
So do you have that emotional connection?
Great shot, by the way. But you're right. It's here's the thing. I'm not used to this. That's all it is. I'm not used to that. Like oh, new main character. Okay.
Right.
Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. I am confused.
You might feel a connection to Godzilla, but I don't know if you feel a connection to the scientist there in the studio. But in the later films, they kind of put the guys, the military guys in the studio inside the monsters, maybe helping you feel a connection to them by having them pilot the monsters, right?
Right.
But
so this moment's really famous. He just thinks he beat Godzilla. He's like, yeah, he's fine. They draw the anti-nuke whatever. Take your
anti-nuclear bacteria.
Right, in his mouth.
Into Godzilla's mouth because they're hoping.
Godzilla shows intelligence here.
And I think then later they argue because Godzilla's cold-blooded, it takes much longer for it to work on him.
Like, his death here is, I mean, the ultimate expression of look at that. It's amazing. And he even has a one-liner in front of Godzilla. How badass is this man? Godzilla's not having that quip.
Yeah, he's like, 5 out of 10 quip. Here's your 5 out of 10 death. Boo! Yeah, Godzilla's like groaning. He's like, no one-liners. Get out of here.
He's too manly.
But
he's such a badass when he says that.
But once again, maybe I'm ragging too much on it. It's an amazingly made set piece. But you don't have characters to care about in that scene. Gondo's cool, but it's like Godzilla's the character,
Yeah. Like, he's only cool because of the way he acts. Like, he has to actually
overcompensate. Not because of how he was written.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Wow.
Sorry, I'm not even asked. How could she know this? Okay, never mind.
So yeah, the guy who wrote this, so the guy that Toho did a story contest, I think, because they were out of ideas with a way to move Godzilla into the future without relying on cheesy stories like atomic radiation made this monster or alien invaders brought this monster down,
Right.
And they landed on biological engineering, and they landed on trying to set it in the real world, which I think were all incredibly inspired ideas.
Well, do you think that at the time biological engineering was considered sort of mystical, sort of like there's sort of like a believability to it, even though there's not like a scientific backing.
I think maybe they were just thinking like, we can't just do the cliche of like nuclear radiation. It gave the Fantastic Four power. we have to somehow make this like more believable.
But does that mean believable though? Like, would people have believed? Here's the thing: you remember Kaneko once saying that people would not believe science jargon; they believe spiritualism because for some reason that is just more believable. There's something about that in GMK.
But is there spiritualism here as well? The soul of Erica being
There is, but
placed
it's
in
treated
Biollante?
like science. It's like, oh yeah, her spirit went up there. Yeah, of course it did. Like as it would scientifically. What?
I believe they had a real struggle with figuring out how to come up with a monster in a creative way, in a way that's the actor here on the top left was the main actor in Godzilla vs. Megalon, and in Terror of Mechagodzilla, he's also the main actor.
Oh,
so he just has a little role here
with the glasses, right? Yeah, of course.
It's just kind of funny. And the
know-
actor all the way on the right is the young military guy, is the son of the main actor from King Kong vs. Godzilla as well.
Ooh.
So a lot of Godzilla history here. But, they're having a scientific discussion about why the anti-Godzilla bacteria didn't work, and they're proposing Plan B, Plan C, Plan D, right? And to me, just seeing the military sit there and come up with new strategies isn't narratively engaging, personally. That's an old Ifukube military march.
But it almost makes you forget that what you just saw was nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
Like exposition, cool.
it's a movie of great ideas and one-dimensional characters, and I mean, I don't think that can be argued against. There is so much to respect and to like. The script, was written by a dentist who earlier, the original story treatment was written by a dentist who earlier wrote for The Return of Ultraman, some screenwriting, a story for Ultraman he wrote about a scientist who crossed DNA with a plant to create a monster.
Just so we can establish Ultraman bad.
Yeah,
so anything that this,
He took that sort of story outline and added it with the pathos of a man losing his daughter. And, to me, the interesting stuff is how the man deals with the grief of his daughter by creating this horrible monster. That's the interesting idea in this film for me. And the other interesting idea is that world powers will fight and bomb their scientists in order to get exclusive new bioengineering sort of technology to have a leg up on other powers.
right?
But then these ideas are kind of sidelined.
Yeah, they are.
In favor.
Because it's hardly the focus of the film at this point that he's like traumatized or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like he's just
They're
there.
sidelined.
Like at this point,
Now
he's
this
fine.
is interesting. This is. I guess it's time for my generation to move aside and let the youth do it. From now on, it's up to you guys.
Like they're all admitting it's time for a new era.
And even the you guys said, if we keep doing the same thing, we can't call it a new era. If we keep screwing up like you guys, we're just going to be no better than you guys. It can't just be our generation. It has to be our improved generation.
Interesting. This drawing scene ends up being paid off in the credit sequence, which is interesting. I found she draws the rose, right? Which the image of the rose above the earth appears in the credits, although not exactly like this. By the way, the music here, everything about this is incredible. I think the rain, the music. By the way, Sorry, I need to pay respects to whoever made this music.
So that
who made this music? Who scored this film?
So this is the military's, let's say, Plan B of the nuclear bacteria didn't work. Their Plan C of the psychic girl having a link with Godzilla didn't work.
Koichi
Their
Sugiyama.
Plan A of the Super
Genius.
X, Koichi Sugiyama. Their Plan A of the Super X2 didn't work. Now they're like on Plan D. So you're like watching part of a movie of the military going, I don't know, it's Plan D, Plan F, we got this idea, we got that, let's go into the movie. Having said that, it creates an excuse to have great action scenes.
That's a great shot.
But
Like that must be a model. Like that could not be a real helicopter. It might be. Who knows? But it looks great.
it's
It looks great.
it does create the excuse to have great action scenes, but then you just have a movie with great action scenes.
It's more than great action scenes, in my opinion. I think that the setting of this, the build up, the atmosphere, everything about this is wonderful. Like I could argue that this is better than any Heisei right now. Like this shot, like everything about this sequence is better than anything that Heisei has done.
They're going into battle. They're braving the elements. Those little moments. Yeah. The rest of the Heisei films feel maybe more slapdash, right? Like, But these guys have hijacked. These military guys have hijacked the movie.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
I mean,
they really did. I mean, you have the scientists here. By the way, this is amazing. You have the
yeah.
Super X2 theme. Really cool, interesting CGI. I mean, it's also from the computer's perspective, so it's forgivable.
Well,
And it cuts to
it's kinda
Godzilla.
like them just going, okay, look, this is our game plan.
Yeah,
And it teaches you what the game plan
it's really good.
is. Yeah, no, I think it's a great usage of CGI considering what was available at the time, and like,
Yeah.
and that scene gets you hyped for the battle. It's kind of like the opening credits, which would just have dialogue over a black screen, writing over a black screen. Like it's just new ways. This director's trying to find new ways of conveying information using
Right.
CGI.
Right.
He's trying to go non-cliche.
Right.
He's trying to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
And the problem is Toho loved the wheel he made so much they kept spinning it. This is the blueprint for the rest of the Godzilla series.
Yeah.
Godzilla versus military, and
To be honest, I'd say let's just say Godzilla even into the millennium. Let's think honestly.
I
about
would
this.
say
Godzilla 2000 does not have a military screen scene, whatever. Godzilla versus Megaguirus
Godzilla
does.
versus Mechagodzilla 93, Godzilla versus Space Godzilla,
Yeah.
Godzilla versus Destroyer,
Yeah.
Godzilla 2000, Godzilla
No,
versus
Godzilla
Mechagodzilla.
2000 doesn't. But Megaguirus does.
Yeah, and 2000
Mechagodzilla does.
shows up.
Tokyo SOS does.
Yes.
And maybe GMK. I mean, you can argue that they actually no. GMK does have a military scene where they're all like staring at the big screen.
Well,
They do.
GMK was sort of about Japan's military history, right? So these Mazers, right, making a comeback from the Showa films, from War of the Gargantuas in their initial appearance, and
But at this point, it would have been a staple in the franchise.
yeah, the fans love those Mazers. This might have been the film that remade them into a staple.
No, to be honest,
84 had Mazers.
I would angrily ask you, like,
Was the Mazers?
we made a new Godzilla. Does it have Mazers? Oh, it's straight.
84 had the Mazers. No, this is like Godzilla meets Frankenstein. This is like, yeah, Godzilla meets Frankenstein. Alright. So now we're on like Plan E. They're trying to heat up Godzilla to make the bacteria work.
We're still following this scientist. Like has he not been discredited at this point?
Not been arrested yet.
He's just here. Okay, he's not been arrested. He's just all right, cool.
The military is like, you made this crazy monster, and maybe they don't know he made it. You made this crazy monster, and what? You're going to teach us how to stop it because you have the ability to make them. So you should also.
But they're not angry at him. They're like, yeah, listen to him. Like,
you have the ability to make them, so you should have the ability to destroy them, right? But like I said, this is Plan E now. Now they're explaining they're going to heat up Godzilla's body temperature to make the anti-nuclear bacteria work. Like, Alright. And, military confrontation. Now, which military confrontation is this? In the movie, he fights Super X twice before this. Now he's fighting helicopters.
Well, the excuse that they're trying to build up his body heat to make him more susceptible to the bacterial virus or whatever.
So as point of view shots, it's obviously, once again, I think the director trying to introduce new things to the Godzilla franchise. The point of view shots from the perspective of the helicopter pilots.
I definitely don't remember that from '84 for sure.
And how hard was it to get all that rainwater coming down? How expensive?
Great shot, by the way.
Yeah. I guess Koichi Kawakita, the newer special effects director that was replacing Teruyoshi Nakano, was, he had a lot of experience with optical effects. Nakano, his predecessor, was really big on pyrotechnics, explosions, and fire. And this guy was really big on, once again, mechas and optical beams. I think him and the director worked hand in hand to, I think the special effects guy wanted to use his beams, and the director didn't want it to just resemble a judo match. Like, that was important for him. But
She's so beautiful. Sorry, I had to.
that's
She just is. I think she's gorgeous. But okay, anyways, onto the film, actual film.
right. Yeah, I'm sure she was 18 in this movie, right? Just, weird. I hope so. Yeah. Very exciting. Well, we're getting ready for the final confrontation of the movie, and I mean it's really interesting because there's so many different types of action scenes. Godzilla versus military at sea in their boats, in their tankers.
Right.
Godzilla versus Super X. Godzilla versus Rose form Biollante.
Mm-hmm.
And now but the last confrontation is the biggest. Godzilla versus Monster form Biollante. They save the best one for last, as the film should, right? They save the most epic battle for the end.
At least the most difficult to film.
Right, but it seems like they're stepping it up now. Like, now Godzilla's a real challenge here. Like, it's a final boss,
This is more than a challenge, like you said. This is the biggest challenge. Well, maybe Terror, Godzilla did a 2-on-1 final battle was the most one-sided.
Yeah, I do feel that. Like, Godzilla feels almost fear or trepidation or hesitation while glancing at that gigantic crocodile mouth, beckoning him to come.
I find it interesting that this is where Toei wanted. Like, here's the thing: Toho, sorry, Toho sold out, essentially. Let's just be honest here. Like, in my opinion, Toho wanted to go in one direction.
Yeah.
They were set on this. I mean, this was not like a spur of the moment thing. Like, they planned this film. Like, they were like, this is it. Like, we're deciding on this vision. And in the end, they did pretty much go with this vision, except for a more kiddie version. But they actually wanted it to be dark and adult and violent.
Yeah. And like, realistic.
This is, like, at this point, the most impressive kaiju in history.
Yeah. And realistic. Ah, my daughter. There she is. Oh, man.
He's saying what we all already, like, pretty much guessed.
Oh, man. This guy's so crazy. Well, and here it is.
No. This is the most impressive kaiju in history, in my opinion, at this point. Like, this is incredible that this was even made. The amount of people managing this puppet it's surreal. Everything about it, like the design of it, everything. I
mean, it's gigantic. It's colossal. And I really do feel that Godzilla here. He's just going, oh boy, what are my options here? I don't know what that is. I don't like the look of that thing.
I'm pretty sure Godzilla knows, in case of danger, beam.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons this battle is on the shorter side, it was just so time-consuming to make. There is also stop motion of this battle. You can see on the Blu-ray special features that they filmed extensive stop motion scenes with Godzilla and Biollante grappling, which were not used in the movie because the director felt that they didn't match up.
This is the money shot right here.
Yeah.
Big shot.
This looks better than CGI,
Yeah, it looks incredible. His scream, her screaming and running at Godzilla, amazing.
That's probably the most impressive moment of the Godzilla franchise up to this point, maybe in general.
Maybe until the end of the
He looks absolutely terrifying. Looks like an absolute, nothing cheesy, nothing even a little cheesy about that monster. It was scary. Now this brutal violence of Godzilla getting impaled.
And he's getting impaled by her vines, and it looks great. By the way, Godzilla's just horrified. He doesn't know what to do.
Really.
Now, she basically buries herself at this point. She makes the mistake of trying to eat Godzilla. Hey, she forgot Godzilla can beam unlimited from his mouth.
Whoa! You know what? They're going for it, right? They have an unwieldy puppet. Like, we don't do everything we can. I think they could have. I love that scene. Love the scene with people when they mix it up to show the scale of the monsters.
It looks great.
Those are the movie magic scenes for me. But
it's a great shot too. I like that.
Oh,
it looks very, very good. Very expensive too. Honestly, I've not seen the Heisei series ever reach this level. Ever.
Right.
Right now, she launches the acid, which is really cool, And Godzilla actually looked legitimately
Godzilla's
injured.
like, oh, you got your own beam? Nah. Oh.
It looks great.
I mean,
Godzilla's sort of
just
blindly
the
watching
scale
him.
of
Yeah.
Biollante
And she
is
tries
so
to eat him, and that ends up being
Now-
her undoing.
I mean, this is almost like a horror film, right? It's almost like, yeah. Now I know there is another ending that's animated that you can see online with sort of Godzilla dying and Biollante's life force goes into them. It was a cartoon that they drew in anime that they cut from the film because it didn't match. But you can find that finished footage online. I've seen it.
But you're saying Godzilla in one of the original scripts was supposed to lose?
Yeah, I believe he dies, and in the animated footage, which was created, Biollante just goes inside him and revives him. Oh, wow. Yes. And you can find this footage online, and there's also stop motion footage.
So anticlimactic. I always thought Godzilla just turns around randomly, and the fight ends. And Biollante, I suppose, sustained enough damage that she dies, but Godzilla just sort of stumbles into the sea.
But they had other endings. They had an ending that was animated where Godzilla dies, and Biollante's life force goes inside him, which is, it's something at least.
Right.
And they had a stop motion part, and I think they could have had some that stop motion. You could have used, I think, like maybe 2 seconds of it, and then a cut to suits and cut to 2 seconds of stop motion. But really, like playing it for like the full 30 seconds of stop motion and cutting back, it would not match at all. So they were right, I think, to not include it. But maybe if they included a few snippets of it interacting with the monster suits. I don't think you feel disappointed because that fight's so short, because realistically, you've seen so many good action kaiju scenes up until this. This is just the cherry on top, right?
Right. But in a way, what should have been the actual culminating battle to feel like just the cherry on top. I guess it sort of speaks about the odd way this film is organized. Like the way it's just shot, the way it's edited. It's just like, yeah, we've had enough, but somehow we've had enough.
Well, I think they had to cut out a lot of the fight. They cut out the stop motion stuff, which must have taken them a very long time to make, and they cut out the animated stuff. I think because it didn't match. You know what I mean? The suits didn't match the animated stuff or the stop motion. And, I think they were forced to cut a lot of the fight out. So, this is alright. I mean, this is obviously the worst moment of the movie, which is the yearbook photo of Erica going up to heaven, and apparently with the smoke machine. But I guess it visually underscores the idea that her soul was in the monster all along. I mean, and I don't know how else they could have done it, Oh, look, her soul was in the monster all along. I don't think that would have been any better.
And her still looks human. Like a human face.
But, yeah. But
I like to believe that they didn't actually see her face. Like I just want to believe that.
They had another ending, which was filmed where Godzilla sees like a field of flowers sprouting everywhere after Biollante ascends to heaven. Which you can find deleted scenes of that as well.
Really?
Interesting, the Shiragami said after Biollante dies, the real monsters are in the monsters. They are the humans who make the monsters, right? He says that. Which, I mean, but wouldn't that be you, sir? And then now just
only if you were smart.
And just another random action scene here.
Yeah, it seemed it was tacked on.
Or the other cherry on top of the sundae.
That's what I mean. It depends on your perspective. If you're ready for another action scene, then hell yeah, this is great.
Have a little car chase.
For me, I was like,
have a little car chase with knocked out Godzilla in the background.
You know what?
All car chases should.
I'll accept it. I'll accept it.
Is that a DeLorean?
I want more of this.
Is that a DeLorean? Yeah. Honestly, I hope they would have been able to use some of the stock footage and some of the animated stuff to make the fight longer. I wish it was longer because it's so great. What little of the fight there is so 10 out of 10 that you just wish it was longer. But
this fight here?
No, with Godzilla by
Oh yeah.
What little there is so 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it is excellent, for real. But it's really, really, it's shockingly short for me. Considering the build-up.
And once again, a lot of it was deleted, right?
Right.
Because of not matching.
So it almost seems like a compromise. Like this film was a compromise.
That is crazy. I don't know how much ground he covered with that guy slipping in mud and he leapt like 30 feet, but no. Yep. Hey man, this is cool. Them fighting over the gun. It's some creative, direction.
To be honest, Black Rain came out a year later, 2 years later.
I love this. I always love this.
Yeah, he gets fried.
It's just cool.
it's a great payoff to the whole film, like, right, when they establish with this technology, what it does. And I love how he just like zap, done, like nothing. Nothing's left of him.
Yeah, it's quite good.
It's amazing. And that's it. And, you know, the thing about this film is that, okay, it almost refocuses its emotional focus.
Yeah.
What it should have been, what should have been the emotional focus, which was the doctor's, the daughter, the relationship with the daughter, his grieving, is sort of brought back, like, after an hour of no mention.
Right.
For the final shot of the film, like, it turns out that he was
Yes.
a good man. We should have felt sorry. Like, it's just really like, Like, I felt like I wish that the rest of the film would have been, like, about this. And it's almost like, oh, yeah, this guy, he died. Last shot, Godzilla.
Yeah, at some point she's like, are you still going to America? He's like, nah, I don't trust that country.
I think they should be way more afraid seeing Godzilla. Like,
Yeah.
like they're looking at a legendary creature at this point. Like, I mean, this thing is like,
You know, the deleted scenes when they had a field of flowers blooming and Godzilla looking around, I think it would have been a nice ending.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Actually, I think I've seen that actually.
Yeah. I mean,
is it true that this guy comes back in Destroyer, right? As a cameo. He does.
yeah. I feel like the military commander in the scene earlier, to the left of them, is in all of these Heisei Godzillas. You just know those faces. So why does he not want to go to America to be a scientist? It's like,
Good and bad in every country. I mean, I don't know. It feels like this film is trying to tell me something. I just don't
humans
know
are
what
the
it
real
is.
monsters.
I just don't know what it is. I can't figure it out.
Science can be used for the hands of good, for the hands of bad, for the purposes of good, for the purposes of bad.
Fine. But there's something about this film. The setting is so beautiful. I love the music. I love how it focuses on the dead doctor. There's a sense of hope.
And
this
here,
film.
passing of the baton to the next generation.
It's just great.
And this movie passed the baton of Godzilla. It was a new formula for making the films.
Yeah. And ended up being carried over. You're right. I think you're absolutely right. I used to think that this film was ignored. It wasn't.
Basically, after Godzilla 1985, they had no idea how to keep going, I think. Which is why part of the reason it took 4 years for this film to come out. I think with this film, they created a new template for how to keep going.
Right. They just had to figure out a way to make it more kiddie.
They had to find a way to make it more profitable, right? More kiddie. But,
and it's like, this is like shown as like, the music's really triumphant, but it feels sad, and it just, it's so odd for me.
Like in any American movie, the Doctor would be a flat-out villain or more developed. But here he's like sympathetic, treated sympathetically, but not developed enough to earn it. This first crazy.
Yes, or at least from my standards. So I could be wrong. I'll admit, but for some reason, the music's triumphant, so it's very confusing. But it is beautiful in its own way, and there's something about this film that I really appreciate, and that's what it is.
They
Godzilla just walks away. He's fine, ready for a sequel.
They had more intelligent ideas than they had in a very long time. They had better quality special effects than they had in a long time. They had an interesting origin story for the monster. It wasn't just, hey, aliens are back.
Right.
It wasn't, hey, atomic radiation made this lizard big. Okay.
They made it more personal. By the way, big giant rose in the sky.
It really felt like Toho was saying, we have to step up canon.
This rose is still in the sky, apparently, by the end of this Destroyer, I'm assuming. I'm assuming NASA would have dealt with this.
Well, that's how those Biollante cells got into Space Godzilla. Or did that not happen? I think Biollante didn't happen.
You know what? It's all good. Just listen to the music, and it's so good, and it'll just sell you.
And from here on out, instead of trying to introduce you to new monsters, put daring ideas in, they're going for the nostalgia dollar, bringing back the favorite monsters. So in a sense, this movie and Godzilla 1984 represent maybe a missed opportunity to have a Godzilla series that's grounded in the real world, that's treated dead seriously, that's for adults. Where could they have gone with it? Well, money talks.
Right. And that's what it is. We're talking about an industry that was trying to keep it real, and it turns out it realized, no. We got to make that money.
That Biollante doll is too expensive. She's too big. The kids don't have $400 for a Biollante SH monster.
Is that how much it costs, Biollante X Plus?
No, it's like 1,000.
Oh my god. Okay, never mind.
I have like 27 X Plus figures, and I don't have Biollante.
This film, feels like the action in this film is better than anything that came afterwards. I think maybe yeah, for sure. It just creates it creatively at least.
You know what? The director, he was on fire. He said Godzilla 1984 was looking to the past. We're going to look to the future.
Has he ever directed anything?
He
in
did the
Godzilla
next
related?
one. As
Oh,
well.
he did,
and
but
wrote,
not-
and wrote the script.
But not Mothra.
Not Mothra.
Okay.
I think he did the script of Mothra, but didn't
Right,
direct.
okay.
Did not direct.
Interesting. Okay.
But I think he did the next one with Tomoyuki Tanaka, and the Toho staff with a gun to his head going, "Make it for the money this time. Last time was your passion project. This time you make it for the money."
Right. Here's the thing. I appreciate this film because it feels like a passion project. Like it feels like they try to keep it real. And well, it didn't make much money. Too bad. At least years later, it's being appreciated for what it is. Because honestly, the action scenes in this film are incredible. They're really that good.
I think it just restarted the template, reset the wheels to let them continue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
there you go. Godzilla versus Biollante.
it has some 10 out of 10 moments.
And that's the number. Yeah, that seems fair, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.